I was looking for an adventure, and we found it. So I climbed up and was just like, this is unbelievable. This is amazing. So what we're watching today is our first trip out to the lighthouse. We called it the inspection trip. We had bought the lighthouse, gone through the bidding process, went through all the legal stuff, had finally taken possession of the lighthouse legally and cleared everything with the Navy and the Coast Guard and everything, and we were ready to get started. Of course,
we've been ready. You've been waiting for weeks. I mean, I think it was months at this point that we were trying to coordinate, find a day where it worked for everyone, and then it finally got to the point where we're like, well, this day's good, the weather's good, whoever can make it, it's got to make it.
Yeah, we invited all our friends in the media, and some of them didn't work out. Fortunately, Cheryl from Chesapeake Bay Magazine was able to come out, and she took the challenge, and she was great. She was a lot of fun to have on the trip, and she was not afraid to get up on that ladder. We'll see when we get into it. But so we coordinated the trip. By this time, I started the auction ended in, I think, October, and it wasn't until March that we were able to accomplish all that legal stuff and get a nice enough day that Scott from PL Jones, who knew the area like the back of his hand and has a really nice big boat that would take us out. So he did, and that was great that we were able to. He was able to be nice enough to do that and take us out. So then it was March, and why don't we watch some of the video, and we'll see what we see. So in the beginning, you see a lot of people from Hooper's Island reached out and offered all kinds of help and stuff, and a couple people offered places to stay. And the Henrys have this beautiful Airbnb house that they have, and they said you can come and stay there, and it was so nice of them, and we came and stayed, and it was perfect. And the amazing thing is you can actually see the lighthouse from their dock.
Yeah, it's right on the water, and you can look right out and see the lighthouse.
Yeah, so maybe in the description or something we'll give a contact that you can find them on Airbnb and whatever, because it's a really nice house. It's on the bay side, and you can see our lighthouse from it. We traveled the night before. We got a good night's sleep there, and of course we went to the Hooper's Island store in the morning. Got
some breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah, breakfast and coffee.
Necessities.
Yeah. Then we went to PL Jones Marina.
Met up with the dog. Marina.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, don't remember the dog's name. Sorry, dog.
Super nice lab. Yeah.
Matt got made fun of.
Yeah.
The dog right here. Hey. Somebody caught him. Hey, got my staple. Somebody caught him. John Boy's got a staple. Yeah, got it here.
We all ripped on Matt for a little bit. And then, Caden's there with a broken nose.
Yeah.
We were quite a motley crew, yeah. But, and then Cheryl showed up, and she had to sign. You'll probably see she had to sign waivers. Yeah, we had to sign waivers because it was a dangerous thing. I had no idea what we were getting into. I didn't know if the ladder would fall off or there'd be a hole in the floor. I don't know. People. This is why a lot of people didn't want to buy a lighthouse, because there's a lot of liability. We had no idea you weren't allowed to go on the lighthouse before you bought it, and it's just a lot of liability. Anything could happen. So, but like I said from the beginning, I was looking for an adventure, and we found it. So we got there, and I was just so excited. I was seeing the lighthouse for the first time up close during the day, and we were about to go on it, climb up and see what it was like. You see open windows, open door. I was like, what? I thought maybe there'd be a whole bunch of dead birds in there or something, which there were some.
No.
There I said that goofy thing. This is a small step for man and a giant leap toward restoring the lighthouse and restoring the bay. Okay, well, I hit my head here, so just so you guys know.
Did you hit it hard?
Well, there's not much in it, so. My moon landing statement. That was really scary because you're climbing up the ladder and you're 20 feet above the water, and it's rough and there are waves and the boat is rocking back and forth, and you don't want to be down in the water when the boat is rocking back and forth. You could easily get pinched. But also, if you look at that as a solid piece of 1/4 inch angle, and if you hit your head hard on that thing, you could easily lose consciousness enough to fall off the ladder, and then you're in the water unconscious, which is a very, very bad situation. Yeah. You could hit that door thing on the way down. You could hit the boat on the way down. So luckily I just kind of bumped it, and I don't know, I've hit my head many times, so it didn't hurt that much. So I climbed up and was just like, this is unbelievable. This is amazing.
The white everywhere.
Yeah. So maybe we'll pause here after Caden gets up. The white chalky stuff you're seeing, look at that. It looks like concrete or something. That is bird poop. And the funny thing about the bird poop is it was about a 1/2 inch thick, and you could see me kicking it and scraping it. It really was that thick, and I thought, oh no, we're going to need pressure washers, and we're going to be scraping and all this stuff. And the weird thing, I guess, because it was spring, the next time we went out, I was all ready to have that be one of the first projects, get a pressure washer and be like washing it with salty bay water and stuff. And we're like, what happened? It cleaned itself off. I guess it rained so hard that it washed a lot of it away.
It was all gone. It was like clean the next time we came.
Yeah. But you can see all the rust. There's a lot of surface rust underneath the paint, a lot of flaking paint. I was so excited about this solid metal trim that's around all the doors and windows. It's original iron from 1900 to 1902 when it was made, and the stuff is indestructible. So I was looking at that, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't real. It was real, not like that bent thin sheet metal that you get. So then here's a real mystery as to why someone cut this entire opening out, because the stuff we were just saying, that trim was so strong. It's like 1/2 inch thick iron that was formed and riveted together, and every other piece of trim on the lighthouse is in perfect condition. And someone cut this whole opening out, and they put some rubber around it, and then they had that piece of sheet metal that was formed around it, which is now laying there, and it's going to be a real job to get it off of the lighthouse. Down. It weighs a couple 100 pounds, and it's sharp and rusty.
This is going to be one of the harder problems of the whole thing, fixing this entire part of the wall.
It's going to be one of the hardest things to do because, first of all, we have to keep the historical integrity of it. So we're going to have to get this made, and it's going to be really hard. So then we went inside, and I was really surprised how much junk there was in there. A lot of stuff that we didn't need, and and it just felt cramped and small. As you see me say, I was there, I was bugging out, my first reaction to what we were seeing was, I said it was smaller than I thought, and it is messier than I thought, which is true. But also, I was really excited that the interior brick, I mean, this stuff's 120 years old. Look at it. It's perfect. The glazed white brick. And I'm really glad that they did that. We don't have to do anything with that, but just clean it off. And you see here, there were a lot of flies and bugs and dirt. I mean, that stuff doesn't bother me. It was written in the papers, dead birds. There were some dead birds, not a lot, because I don't think the big birds don't like to go inside a structure. They want to nest on top of it, but they don't like to go in there. Some of the smaller birds went in and died, got stuck in different places in there. And I think that's where the flies came from. Now, it's not summer yet, so we don't know what it's going to be like out there in the summer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're afraid. I mean, Hooper's Island is infamous for mosquitoes. And the hope is that they don't go 3.5 miles out into the middle of the bay. Because if they do, it's going to be rough out there in the summer. But there were a lot of flies, and we immediately cleaned all that up. And when we sealed up the windows and stuff, then it wasn't so bad. The previous owners, I assume it was them and not the actual government, because it doesn't seem that old. They did a fabulous job. I was so excited. It was like finding gold in there. They rewired the entire building from top to bottom in really high quality, galvanized conduit, and a full electrical panel with breakers and circuits, and they had wired it with lights in the ceilings of every room and switches, and somebody was a real professional, whoever, or multiple people who did a super nice job. So, I mean, that is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine what that costs on just a regular industrial building on land, and what you have to pay someone to bring the materials out, to come out there on a boat at this lighthouse where we know how hard it is to get on and off, and they did all that. So whoever did that, thank you so much, because that was like a gift of tens of thousands of dollars. And then the other thing is they had a full generator right there, and the generator was with a plug, so you roll the generator out the door, and there's a plug that goes through the wall. You plug the generator in, start it right up, which it did, you see in that other little video we made, and you have power, and that is so nice. I mean, you don't want to leave the generator running all the time, so we're still going to get an alternative energy system with whole house batteries. So then the second floor, third floor, and fourth floor are all bedrooms. You can see the second floor has a separate door off of the stairway, which is really nice. It's a private bedroom with windows and everything, really nice. And you have that pole in the middle that runs from top to bottom in the lighthouse. Inside of that pole, I believe you can see when we get up into the lantern room that basically there were ropes that ran up through the center of that pole, and I think they had some weights or something down in the basement, and what you could ring the fog bell with those ropes from down below, so you didn't have to run all the way around up to the top and out the lantern and outside, which is really, really cool. So outside of the lantern, they had a bell set up with these ropes that went through the wall and out to the bell to ring it back and forth. And at some point, they cut the whole frame off and took the bell, which is really sad, but we can get...
Yeah, at some point it'd be great to have a bell out there.
Definitely, it's on the list.
Something original. We know a bell guy.
Yeah, one of our customers, Elder Horse Bells in Pennsburg, Pennsylvania, that we've blasted dozens of really valuable old bells from the 17 and 1800s. But a newer bell is very similar to an older bell. So
be cool to get something historic though, maybe to the area if possible.
Yeah, we'll keep looking at, again, if anyone have it in the comments, if you know of a bell of historical significance that would be appropriate to put out there, I would love to do that, and we could restore it properly, and if it needs the A-frame, the yoke to set it up properly out there, we can have that fabricated. we're working our way up to the top, and so far I'm not too terrified by anything that I'm seeing or very disappointed. I'm still very excited, about the project. So the super cool portal windows up on that 4th floor, the 3rd bedroom up. It's a shame they're not bigger because it's really cool, but you don't get as nice of a view out of them. And then we have this nice iron ladder. It's super strong. There's nothing wrong with it. It just has thick flaking paint on it. So then we went up.
Little narrow going up that. That's the first of the 2 narrow ladders. That one's narrow and the next one's very narrow.
Yeah, this is the watch room, and that's the watch room gallery. So you're out there's Matt running ahead and coming back. And then we heard something up in the lantern room, and there it was, a peregrine falcon, which we thought was a hawk at first.
Yeah.
And there it was up there trapped, and it was scared when as we were coming up, and you could hear it flopping. It was like throwing itself against the glass. I actually thought it broke the glass there where you see the glass was broken, but someone had caulked it, so that was previously broken. But the poor thing was trapped there, and what happened was, and you see from that other video we put out, it got in at the very bottom floor, and by instinct it wanted to go up, so it went up to the 2nd, 3rd floor, 4th, 5th, up to the all the way up to the lantern. And when it could go up no more, it was stuck. And of course, instinctually, it wasn't going to go back through that maze back down to the bottom, I assume. And it was, I'm so glad. I mean, it took us months to get out to the lighthouse to do this inspection. Mm-hmm. And here, when we got there, this, beautiful falcon was there trapped in the lantern room. And if we had put it off for one more week, like we had already put it off for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then that falcon definitely wouldn't have made it. We went down the basement, and I just love this basement. It is so cool. First of all, it's huge. The ceilings are like 11 feet high. It's all brick, and the brick is in such great shape because it's never seen real weather. It's whitewashed, and the whitewash is kind of half peeling off, which looks really cool. I think maybe we'll pressure wash that to get nice and clean, but leave some of that old milk paint whitewash on there. So here you see a very key element to lighthouses was storage of fresh water. So back in the day, in 1902, they weren't just bringing out jugs of water every time they came out. I mean, I'm sure they were, but they didn't. They were out there for, I don't know, weeks, months, maybe. They didn't have power boats and things. So what you had in the basement were all your provisions. You had oil for the lantern. You had coal for heat. You had wood also for heat for the wood stoves and probably cooking and things. And then you needed water. So they didn't have desalination units. They collected the water off the roof, and they had a series of pipes that went down into these cisterns. So they have 2 cisterns side by side, and together they're about 4,500 gallons of fresh water, enough to save. Now, one of the things is we'll never use it the way they did. We won't collect water off the roof because the birds are always out there pooping, and so the water must not have been very clean. It must have been washing the bird poop off and having this, water in the system. Yeah, I was thinking about that when we were out there. I was like, ooh, that water is collected off of the roof and through a series of pipes and goes down into the basement, and there's a cistern. So everything in the basement is above the water line because you don't want any chance of water coming through, the caisson and the brick and everything. So even the cistern is above the water, like maybe 4 or 5 feet above the water line. Then there's the bottom of the cistern, which is in the solid concrete And then you have these lids that you see in the floor. And I don't know how they brought the water up and whatever, but it's a great design. And the cool thing also is so if it rained a lot and the cisterns overflowed, they wouldn't want water overflowing into the basement. So there's actually a pipe. This was all designed, you see in the original design, and put in. So there's a pipe solid in the concrete that when the cistern reaches a certain level, it overflows and goes straight out the side of the lighthouse and then pours off into the bay. So somehow those cisterns became full of so much garbage. People threw stuff down there. I don't know why they would do that. They
probably just thought it would never get used again or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have the benefit of energy and desalination units, so we'll be able to fill up those cisterns in no time, and then have pumps so that we can have fresh water for all kinds of stuff.
Because the goal is to have basically modern amenities of a house.
Yeah.
People might not know that that's something we want, is to be able to have running water, fresh water, I guess a shower would be nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we want
a bathroom.
We need just work.
The bathroom
we're working
is,
out there.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah, we won't go into details about that, but it's basically like camping. No, we have an RV toilet now, but it's camping, But eventually we want to have the nicest of everything, just, maybe a little smaller style, but we want to have a shower and a bathroom and a kitchen and everything. And people say, oh, you're going to Airbnb it? No, that's not really that functional. It's too dangerous to have people going out there by themselves.
Liability is ridiculous.
But what I want to do is I want to be able to host events. I want to host people who want to see the lighthouse, who we can bring out to do environmental work and such,
or fundraising to help us support the project,
support the restoration and maintenance of this lighthouse, of other lighthouses, of the environmental work that we want to do, of the monitoring of the bay and all kinds of things. And we want to be able to bring people out, people who maybe are descendants of light keepers, maybe people who have worked on Hooper's Island, or descendants of people who shucked oysters and did watermen who fished and worked the Chesapeake Bay, and or people who were involved with the construction of lighthouses and things. So people who have already reached out to us and have expressed how significant to them and their family this lighthouse and other lighthouses are to them. So what I want to do is, this lighthouse has been inaccessible to the average person its entire existence. Either it's been too hard to get on, or it's just been off limits. Like, no one has been allowed to go on there except for the Coast Guard and certain select people for years and years. And if we can make it accessible through a dock and stuff, then we can bring people out who thought, this lighthouse is very important to me and my family, but I'll never get to see it in person. That's not even a thought to them. Well, now it is. So that is one of our goals, and as soon as possible to make it accessible, to host events and bring people out. I just want to see people get that feeling that we get when we go out there.
Yeah, I feel like the dock is very important for that, because it's just so hard to get up the ladder right now, even with me. Like, a couple times I've gone up holding a camera. Yeah, but
you're always holding
climbing with one arm, and it's not easy. So I can imagine someone, that's,
It's a safety issue.
Yeah.
And it's a huge liability. And not only that, but there are a lot of people that I have communicated with who, are older or, could be disabled, or, and it's just impossible.
Yeah, it's not doable.
Yeah. So what we want to do is build a nice dock and and have a boat lift and a stairway and different things so that we can share this lighthouse with so many people. We looked around and I was just like, I couldn't believe how cool the basement was, and how I was really excited that structurally it was in good condition, that the bricks were in good shape. It just needs cleaning and painting where it needs to be painted, because that's what we do. The iron staircase, so cool, but that has all those angles and turns, like, from working at the shop.
Yeah.
Stairs are like
every angle, every corner, and like you saw, some of it's like completely eroded away, and like some of the bars gonna need to be completely replaced.
Yeah.
So continue with the handshake you almost missed.
Yeah, okay, well, we don't have to point all that out. But, yeah, so said goodbye to Cheryl, and we stayed on the lighthouse because we were so excited to get to work. And so Scott and Caden took Cheryl back, so we stayed for the rest of the day, and we just started cleaning. Matt was going crazy. I was kind of in awe and in shock of just taking it in. I was doing a lot of measuring. I was like, okay, how's this gonna fit and that. So anyways, so Scott came back and picked us up. At the end of the day, we were able to get in a few hours of work, and it was such an amazing day. I'm glad we documented it. And then you threw this thing in of this little.
It was a nice shot. It was a good shot. I don't know.
It's a beautiful shot, but people are gonna be like, "Is that the lighthouse?"
It's a lighthouse.
Yeah. So it was a great day, and very successful day. Nothing terrible happened. The attorney that I was consulting with, Jana, she just was so worried about us bringing other people out, and before we're ready, before we had seen it and been on it ourselves. But sometimes you just have to go for it in life, and I think that's what we did, and it was successful. So then we got that inspection trip done, and now it's off to the races. Let's get our boat down there at the marina and start going out and just working every day that we can get down there, making progress.